Doctrine and Covenants, section 58, verses 30 through 33 says, Who am I that made man, saith the Lord, that will hold him guiltless, that obeys not my commandments? Who am I, saith the Lord, that have promised and have not fulfilled? I command, and men obey not. I revoke, and they receive not the blessings. Then they say in their hearts, This is not the work of the Lord, for his promises are not fulfilled. But woe unto such, for their reward lurketh beneath, and not from above. When I read this, I understand this to mean that God will promise us things, but if we're disobedient, that promise is void. He revokes the promise. We can choose not to fulfill God's promises. This happens a lot. There was a trend among people who had left the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints a while back, where they would post their patriarchal blessings, and they would say, look, this didn't get fulfilled, this didn't get fulfilled, this didn't get fulfilled, and these verses would be the response to that God isn't going to fulfill a promise if we haven't done what he told us to do. We can choose not to fulfill those promises. And that doesn't mean that if God makes a prophecy that it won't eventually be fulfilled. These saints were dealing with the idea of establishing Zion in Independence, Missouri, and that didn't happen. That didn't happen, at least not well. But it doesn't mean that it won't happen at some point. And it doesn't mean that Zion, or that perhaps the prophecies will be fulfilled another way, or the promises will be fulfilled in a different way that we might not see. But we should not assume that God isn't a chemical reaction where it's certain to happen. It always happens a certain way. It always happens if he says it. It always happens the way we expect it to happen. God has agency. He can change, or he can fulfill things in a different way that we aren't suspecting. So we need to remain obedient and try our best to be obedient in order to claim the promises that God has given us.